to attempt to secure a quorum.
I'm going to see if Rachel is going to be attended. Call Rachel.
We now have a quorum. I'm calling the meeting of the Beaufort County Board of Education Finance Committee. You're in conference room E and also remote hybrid conferencing. And the meeting is being live streamed on the county channel. Requests for public comments will be accepted between 4 and 4 by sending an email with your name, phone number, and topic to Robin Cushenberry. We're past that time, so I guess we haven't got it any, so we will go right ahead. Committee members present, myself, Dick Geyer, Mr. Earl Campbell, Dr. Rachel Wisniewski. We'll start with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. We have no public comments. The first item on the agenda is approval of the August 11th, 2022 committee meeting minutes.
You got to approve the agenda first.
Oh, approve the agenda. Yeah, let's do that. Do I hear a motion to approve the agenda?
I'll make a motion that we approve the agenda.
A second.
Second, it's been moved and seconded to approve the agenda. Is there any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye.
Wisniewski, aye.
Thank you. Passes unanimously. Public comments was next, and we have none. And now we're at the approval of the August 11th, 2022 committee meeting minutes. Do I hear a motion to approve those minutes?
August 11th committee meetings minutes.
Motion by Mr. Campbell,
Second.
second by Dr. Wisniewski. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye.
I'm going to abstain, Mr. Chair. I was not at that meeting.
Okay, thank you. 2, 4, and 1 abstention. Next item on the agenda is a monthly $100,000 report. Ms. Crosby.
Yes, sir. Before you today is the monthly $100,000 report, both a consolidated and a detailed report. Just want to make one note, any Amazon purchases fell below the threshold of $100,000 this month. But I do have some additional information on another topic this evening that we can give some additional information of changes due to the new procurement code. I think we're going to see some further reductions in Amazon purchases. So with that, I'll be happy to take any questions.
Mr. Chair.
Dr. Wisniewski, you have the floor.
Thank you, sir. I'm having trouble opening up the item in board docs that says July 100,000 reports Amazon versus Staples PDF. I can open the other PDFs, but for some reason I'm having issues with that one. It asks me to.
Yeah. We're having issues with it. I have to figure out how to get it back in there.
We can
Okay.
get it when we get to it on the screen for you, correct?
Okay.
Or you can't open
I
it
can
either?
email it to
Yes.
you, Robin.
Yes, will you email it to me and then I
Yes.
can display it on the screen?
Okay. Any comments on the $100,000 report? Campbell?
I don't have,
Dr. Wisniewski, do you have anything?
Yes, sir. I was just wondering if we could get a little more information on the Frontline Technologies Group listing that I think it says under the explanation that it's proactive recruiting services. So
Yes, Frontline Technologies is the applicant tracking software that we use in human resources. So all applicants provide their information, submit their resumes and other cover letters and other certification information in Frontline. That is used, and then the any new changes in jobs. So when a department is requesting a job to be posted, we do a job requisition in that system as well as any resignations or retirements or other changes in employment are initiated in that software by schools and departments. There are some other modules in that system. I believe our teacher absence system is in that module as well. And Ms. Walton could probably provide a little more information. I think it's this proactive recruiting.
Is
Yes.
that one of those new tech? Is it a newer technology to us? Because I know there was some technology a while back that we were looking at for HR, and I wasn't sure if that was it.
No, we've had Frontline for, I would say, several years.
Okay.
We implemented that quite some time ago. It is not new.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, welcome.
I had one question. I just noticed the town of Bluffton, we paid them $160,000 for SRO support, crossing guards, and so on. Do we get similar bills from the town? That comes from the county. And how about Beaufort?
Yes, we do. We get bills from the sheriff's office for all of the unincorporated areas, and we receive them from the town of Port Royal as well.
We just haven't gotten a bill at this reporting period for them.
That's correct. So this is for June. So this was a little late compared to those that the others came in more timely. And so this one was, we do have, those often lag behind during the end of the fiscal year, but we do accrue them back. Any June charges are accrued back to the previous fiscal year.
Molly fixed board docs, so we should be able to refresh. Rachel, if you refresh your screen in board docs, the report, Molly fixed the report in board docs. So we should be able to get in it now.
We're going to discuss that Amazon Staples before we get to the procurement code, but do we need a motion to recommend that the $100,000 report go into the consent agenda at our next meeting?
So moved, Mr. Chair.
Second. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you. Okay. Next item on the agenda is the monthly transparency report. Ms. Crosby?
Yes, sir. Our transparency report is out on the district website, and it's available. A lot of detail there, so I'll be happy to take any specific questions that you all may have in that area.
Any questions from the committee members?
I'm getting a broken link, but that might be my server or my my browser. I'm not sure.
Big report.
Let me try and use a different browser.
Kevin?
Yeah, I'm not able to get the link for the transparency report is not working for me. I tried it in Safari and in Google Chrome, and neither one works for some reason.
Let me go up this way.
It's working for me. I just pulled up July. It's 83 pages.
83 pages.
I'll go website. It is under finance.
I just do transparency in the search engine. Transparency.
Well, if we don't have availability, we can really take a look at it. So, the only thing I can suggest that we do is,
I'm going to try and copy and paste it from this chat that Molly just sent and see if that works. If not, then I can just abstain from anything that has to do with that. I just can't get it.
we can't report to the board or put it on the consent agenda until we've had a chance to review it.
Yeah, it's still not working for me, guys. Sorry.
The August, which one?
It's July 22.
June.
FY23. Okay. Here it is. Yeah, looks like it's working for you as well.
All right, I'm pulling it over. All right. Can you see it, Rachel?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, let's do some scrolling here.
You want me to
We
go?
got AB Books Company, okay, survey, BM GCA Services, that's normal. AC Marriott Portland, what is that?
It was training for, I believe, Power School training in
Power School.
Oregon in July
Oh,
each year.
they went to that, yes, that's, did Melissa Murray go to that?
I'm not
I
sure.
believe so.
There was a group that did.
Yeah, I believe so. Okay, let's keep scrolling. Next page. Child support payment, Alabama child support payment. What is that?
Those are garnishments out of payroll.
Garnishment? So we had a court order?
We have any. Anything that says payroll run there is part of our payroll.
Okay, all right.
What page is that on?
Page 2 of the 83 page, transparency.
You
It's
don't
not on
have,
the.
you don't have
it's on
paper
the-
copies.
It's on the one
Yeah,
online.
You have to look at it on the computer.
Keep going.
Keep going, graphics. Okay, here's some Amazon things that we ordered. And we'll talk about Amazon in the next period. American Lazy Publishing, AmeriGas. That's our utilities,
Propane, yes. sir.
propane. Where do we use propane?
Kitchens,
Pardon me?
kitchens.
The kitchens use propane?
Mhm.
They don't have natural gas? Okay, that's unusual. Got Amazon, keep going,
Keep going, Jim.
keep going. It's just people buying supplies for rubber bands and everything else. Okay. Atheum Sports, volleyball, okay. Data Technologies. More publishing. Okay, Crown Center, New Orleans, who went there? School. The Creative Arts. Okay, so we went to a conference, ISTE
It's,
conference.
it's the,
Okay.
it's, has something to do, instructional technology or something.
Yeah, it's the largest ed tech conference pretty much in the nation.
Okay. Auto parts, that's the maintenance folks. Keep going. HVAC, Barnes and Noble books. Beach tire maintenance, Chamber of Commerce, oops, membership dues, okay. Conservation District, Beaufort Jasper, okay, keep going. Here's some electric bills, water and sewer bills. Okay, art supplies, home design, Bluffton Community Soup Kitchen. Oh, summer enrichment. What the heck is that?
The ISD runs a summer enrichment program through some of the fellowships and churches and different soup kitchens throughout Beaufort County, try to have them spread out throughout the zone. And with that, we have MOAs and MOUs with them to help with supplies and the rental fees for the facilities for these students to go to after school or through the summertime.
Which one is that in particular?
That was the soup kitchen, I believe, the Bluffton soup kitchen.
Bluffton Soup Kitchen.
I think there's a total of 10.
I see it comes from special revenue federal, so it's a federal program.
I believe they use
It's
it.
an ESSER
ESSER.
funds. This is one of the
ESSER funds.
after-school programs
Okay.
that were presented to the board. This is one of those community groups, partnerships.
Okay. Let's scroll, keep scrolling. Board member reimbursement for travel. Okay. Landscapes, that's obviously that's who we've got contracted to do, our maintenance, the grounds maintenance.
Right, View does
Right.
athletic field maintenance services for the district and lining fields.
Okay. Keep going. Sports equipment. Cash US Castle, it's not cash, okay. Center for Collaboration, Trustee Office, payroll, all right, another one.
Garnishments.
Yeah.
Sure. Measure bankruptcy.
Yeah. Chem Guard. Chick-fil-A, I guess it would. Okay, City Electric, CMI contract.
Sorry,
Suites.
can you go back up just a smidge? There was a Center Inc. for 24,000.
Oh, yeah, that was a big one.
Go back.
No, we had it, yeah.
No.
Yeah. I think I know what that is from, but I was just curious. Is that one of those instances where there's
Center Inc. Yeah.
So that's actually Chestnut Hill Mental Health Center, Inc. So that's
yeah.
That's a residential treatment facility for a student. Room and board charges that we're responsible for paying. That's through the IDEA funds. Federal 203 is federal IDEA funds.
Mhm.
That is paid on behalf of the student. Those are usually pretty significant costs to the
Right.
district.
Okay. College entrance exams, testing, okay. Why do we give anything to Colleton County School District?
If there's a student that is from Colleton County that is put in our care, I'm sorry, from our care into Colleton County's county.
Volleyball
Volleyball.
interest.
Oh, I'm
It
sorry.
was a tournament.
Tournament.
I actually attended the tournament.
Okay, so you
My
can
daughter
attest.
played in it.
No, you can attest.
It was there. We were there all the
All
time.
right.
District students. It makes me pay their school
There's a
districts.
conference in Myrtle Beach. Conference there. Compliance signs, country inn suites. Later in May, summer, okay, that's later in May stuff. Okay, bigger country, Bluffton.
Those are all work orders.
Work
They're
orders,
maintenance work orders.
Crown Plaza, Asheville, a lot of traveling going on last,
It's in the summer when school's
Summer.
out. Professional development. So. SCAC, that's the South Carolina Association of Counties.
right,
Or Coaches Association, coaches.
coaches, Culligan Water Stuff, okay, keep going. Printing, DBQ, document-based questions. Next, what's the DBQ company? Looks like there's- Each school has that.
It's for all of them. So it's coming out of technology or it's coming out of instructional. I'm sorry. So it's a software.
Not software.
DBQ, document-based questions.
I believe they're automating paper documents, so probably special education,
Yeah.
documentation, high school transcripts are used in
Right,
those sorts of systems, so.
For all the schools.
okay. Let's scroll down. DBQ. Okay, Jefferson. Occupation therapy services. Airfare. Delta, just keep going. Okay, Dollar Tree. This is, looks like,
It's for the retirement celebration.
yeah, this one, Beverage Academy is doing, right? Dollar Tree, Dominion Energy, okay, here's a bunch of energy bills, let's keep scrolling. Okay, Domino's, all right, Dorsey Tire, Maintenance, Doubletree, Colorado. Special revenue, so that's a lot of federal funds being used for that. National School Safety, okay. Keep going. Embassy Suites, Columbia. Fund. A lot of people went to Columbia.
Southland permitted special sped director leadership, so
Okay. All right,
special education conference.
let's keep going down. Down. Going down. Enterprise leasing. Athletic stuff. Environmental systems. Epic Mountain Express. Leading and learning. Okay, gotta get money back for that. And ExxonMobil, okay, keep going down. And Fairfield. Family Support Payment Center, that's another payroll warrant.
Going.
Wait a minute, this one, family support,
Child support.
child support. So somebody's getting,
Yes.
yeah. Ferguson Enterprises, that's plumbing, I believe. Clogged toilet, yeah. Mexican Grill, assistant principal lunch. Firehouse, First Group America. Bulk fuel,
That's the county garage.
okay. Got a bunch of flags unlimited. All at school, yeah, for those big books. Forms and supplies, keep going. Frankie Bones, Bluffton, let's have a celebration, Frankie Bones. Franklin Covey, Leader and Me. Frontline, Fun Express. Supplies, okay. Gaylord Opry Resort. Grapevine, Texas. Well, we have people going all over the nation. Geo Guardian site license review. You know what that is?
So I'm looking at yours too. The Guardian, that is from Pear. Pear is a, I think it's like a distribution, kind of like the flyers for advertising that schools do, like Peach Jar, yeah. And Pear Deck is one of them as well.
Okay,
And those,
It's electronic flyers. Instead of putting flyers in book bags of children,
Okay.
you purchase the software,
got it.
send it out through Brightview.
Keep going. Keep going. Keep going. Okay, Granger. Repair, maintenance stock. Greenville County School District. GH proviso payment, $20. Okay, whatever.
keep going.
Hey, yeah, keep going. All right. Hands to Mine, another educational material of some sort.
Yes.
Okay, go down, Hargrave Communication, a lot of Hargrave Communication. Hargrave Telephone. Oops, it's over here, Harris Teeter. Gary Wong, Publication, Educational, and Shine. School nurse supplies, medals, extra caps and gowns, keep going. HES facilities, custodial, okay, keep going. Hilton Head, Greenville, Summit, Education Summit. Class repairs, utilities, Hobby Lobby, okay, keep going. And keep going, hotel booking, hotel. Hughes Motors, Hyatt Place in Tampa, Greenville, Okay, keep going. Traffic light, waste services, keep going. State management service, monthly pond maintenance, okay. It's for retention ponds. Living up promo, school supplies, keep going. Internal revenue service, warrant, okay, good grief. I had no idea we had this many issues. International transaction, event applies into it. Learning, keep going. Band stuff. Trustees, okay. More, gee whiz. Jumper Carter, okay, that's an architect. Kaplan, that's learning. Zuli, what are we doing with Stephen Murray here back in?
Field trips. for,
Field
I
trip,
think,
oh,
some
to
of
see
the,
that.
After school program,
Alright.
summer school program. Went to the Kazoo factory.
Kingston Resort.
How much was that?
$75.
Factory tour. Lakeshore Learning Materials. Lancaster School District, something. Vital payment.
Proviso payment is a student that, let's see, one of our students that has been placed in another school district in the county or in the state for purposes of foster care,
Oh, okay,
group homes, that sort of thing. So
Right.
we have to pay on a per day basis
Mhm,
for a rate for any other school district and vice versa.
okay. Limehouse Produce is good to keep going down. Limehouse Produce, Lowe's, okay. Find stuff from Lowe's, keep going. On most of these, P-card,
For loans?
mhm,
No, the ones with work orders are checks.
or
That's
checks,
Mhm.
okay. Oh, I see the WO work order, okay, got it, all right. Indicon contractor. Okay, fire safety, keep going. Marriott. Mass Mutual Life Insurance,
It's a payroll deduction.
payroll. Good grief. Yeah. Middlebrook Baptist Church, the after school. On medallions, okay, keep going. Lowe's Online, food service, and Motorola, that's all radios.
Those were for radios for all the new security
Yeah,
officers.
yeah. Mount Carmel, no, that's from,
When did we purchase those? I thought we already had all those.
These
they-
were in July. They
they're,
were programming, it looks like we were programming them. Device programming in February, equipment for security officers.
So we were back paying them for programs that were done in February. Is that what you're saying?
I don't know the details of the.
it probably
purchase.
have to be reprogrammed for the new technology going in, radios have to be brought in and reprogrammed for it.
And we don't pay for them until we receive them, so it could be due to supply chain issues that we put it in order and they were programmed from February, but we may not have received them yet, and we don't pay for goods until we have them.
Right, so, right, and that's my question. I'm wondering exactly when did we receive the radios in here?
That would be a Robert Auding question. I'd have to consult with Robert to get that answer for you.
Okay. Common Baptist Church Mystery Science. NASP membership dues, okay. Membership dues, keep going. We're cabling New Life Deliverance Temple, summer enrichment, okay. North American Rescue, O.C. Welch. Markins, pest control, keep going. Right, stop there. Food supply, near bread. Parents and teachers, okay. Then you see solutions integration, fresh, okay, keep going. School budget, control movement, premiums, advanced premiums. Right?
That's health insurance.
Yeah. Some more warrants, okay, keep going. It goes, books, machine, lease. And book, plank, publishing, keep going. Overall Sound Foundation, summer reading program, all right. Our school. Cambridge exams, okay, keep going. Kitchen online, Project Lead the Way, Publix. Cool. Eagles, American athletics stuff. Teacher communication folders, okay, keep going. Rock Hill Schools, that's another one which we've proviso payment. Okay. Architects, S&S Management Group, Security Services, that's our security, our elementary school SROs. Savannah Morgan News, Advertising, Athletic Coaches Association, keep going. Department of Revenue, more warrants, good grief. Sales tax on adult meals. Sales tax on adult meals. What is that?
If teachers or staff eat lunches in the cafeterias, we have to submit sales tax. Those are taxable.
Okay. All right.
But who's paying for those meals? Are the adults paying for themselves or?
Yes, it's, I don't know the exact, I think a $4.15 a meal. And so that's included in the tax, and the sales tax is submitted to the Department of Revenue.
Mr. Chair,
Say again?
sorry, can I ask a question real quick?
Yes.
On the item that's dated July 22nd to the SE School Boards Association, that it says builders risk additional premium contribution for the Hilton Head Island Middle School project, 6,000. Am I reading that right?
It's cool. That was back. Go back.
That's right.
Back.
722 School Boards Association.
HI.
Do you see it?
MS project, $6,000.
I'm trying to understand the school board association connection to that.
So the school, Skizbit is who we go through for insurance. And with that, the school board association for insurance trust, I think that the vendor name got cut off there. And we pay premiums to them for policies and services. And with that, with Hilton Head Island Middle School, it looks as if the risk manager or if the project manager may have requested additional insurance premiums for that specific project. We can find out.
Okay, yeah, it might have gotten cut off there of what it is. Because I knew we do get some additional benefits through them. So I just wanted to make sure I understood what that one was for. So thank you for that.
Okay, let's go down. Scenario learning, online training, okay, scholastic books, that's a big firm. School district, boy, a lot of proviso. School specialty training, okay, supplies. Electric bills, okay, keep going. Seacoast security shredding, okay. Sharp electronics. Is that
These are
copies?
copy machines.
Is that our one vendor for copy machines?
Yes, we bid out
Good.
that.
Good, you bid out as a group.
And we lease them,
Good.
yes.
Good. How often do you bid that out?
We try to do it every 7 years, if we can push it that far.
Yeah,
And then that's our max superintendent approval.
okay. Sherman-Williams, that's paint. Sodexo, okay, that's a bunch of, keep going. And some health, school nurse services, okay. Gullah People's Movement Station,
Radio station.
radio station,
So is that advertising for
Advertising.
minority women business enterprise
good,
contract?
okay. Southeast Roofing, keep going. Spider Learning, Spring Hill Suites, conference stuff. Tire, St. Paul, I went to that one. That was really well done. St. Paul's Baptist Church summer program. It's excellent. Keep going. Staples. We'll talk about Staples later on. Lots of Staples. Okay, stop. Let's go back to the end of the Staples. Okay, state of Florida, good grief. Strategic communications, okay, keep going down. Summer school district. Taylor Publishing, teacher pay, teachers.com, rent evaluation, home debt depot, keep going. Profit Corporation, I don't know what was that. Payment, Tennessee, $90 for
Transaction.
Robert Small's International Academy. Some kind of services, the principal.
Yeah, that's a transaction number. The TN is for transaction number.
Transaction,
And the report with student activities account.
student activities account. All right,
So we have to look into.
Yeah,
I'll get more detail.
yeah, that's okay. That's the principal got that. TIA CREF, okay, let's go. Concepts town, here's town of Bluffton for, nothing for town of Bluffton. Okay. Train, that's HVAC. Transworld Systems, aren't. Trustmark, Tucker Dry Cleaning. Management, keep going. Keep going. Typing agent, annual subscription review, books, United Airlines, University of South Carolina, say culinary, okay, good. UPS, UW-Madison, okay, keep going. Venture Inc., monthly services. Looks like maintenance services, okay. And here's Verizon, Vistaprint, getting close. Keep going. Collins Group, Walgreens, Walmart, Waste Pro, Bridge. Super Center, is that it? Last one? No. Super Center, Word Master Challenge. Okay. YMCA, whoops, what's YMCA? Okay. Young Men's Club of Social Club of St. Helena Island, Summer Enrichment Program, good. Zoom, Z Space, okay, Z Space. Fraudulent, Morrison's Auto. Different outfitters. So we're working with these.
So
Clear these up.
fraudulent disputed charges may not mean that they are all fraudulent, like the Home Depot wasn't an authorized one, but the Apron Outfitters and Morrison's looks like it was a claim adjustment. The refund's still pending, and that those were legitimate purchases, but the goods may not have been received, so then we go in and dispute. But however, the Home Depot does look like to be an unauthorized charge, and yes, we would have claims in with them to get those adjustments.
Okay, any comments or concerns about this report from the committee members? Dr. Wisniewski,
No, sir.
do I hear a motion to have this report put in the consent agenda at the next board meeting?
So moved.
It's been moved and seconded to put this monthly transparency report into the consent agenda at our next board meeting. All those in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye.
Wisniewski, aye.
Motion passes. The board monthly budget is the next one. And we haven't spent much money. You know, I noticed, I think it was Earl that told me, I asked about the county council has taken the meeting stipends and put it into the regular pay.
Right.
And so that you don't have to bill for each meeting and so on. They just rolled it over. Any interest in exploring that for this board?
Sure.
So did,
Dr. Wisniewski?
sorry, I was just gonna say, I'm not sure how that works. Does that mean that the stipend that is allocated typically for the meetings and or travel is just rolled into what the annual salary is? Because I know that reviewing these year over year and month over month, that, you know, some months and some years we don't expend the full amount. So I'd be hesitant to say, let's take the full amount and just roll it into the salary.
Right. I'm just thinking for ease of management. It would,
David's hands up.
Mr. Scherminger.
Thank you. There was some public blowback when county council did that. What they went through and kind of, it started off because people were getting overpaid.
Yeah.
They were going over their cap. So
Right.
the solution was to look at the average and roll it into the base salary. And there was some political blowback. And the stipend originally was to encourage people to come to committee meetings. So if you roll it into the base, you lose that incentive. So I'm not sure that's a good idea.
Got it. Yeah, okay. All right.
Mr. Chair,
Yes, Dr. Wisniewski.
is it accurate that any money that's remaining in the board's budget at the end of the year goes rolled in? Where is it rolled into? I guess I just want to get clarification of that, because I know that there is a good bit every year, at least I thought there was, unless it's been put somewhere else. But what happens with the money at the end of the year if there's remaining money from the travel stipend or the meeting stipends?
It rolls into the fund balance unless the board authorizes some alternative use of those funds. I think we have, there may have been a need for reclassifying legal services in the past to another category, but for the most part, it just rolls into the fund balance.
Right.
Comments?
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Any questions on the board budget? Do I hear a motion to put the monthly board budget in the consent agenda?
Second.
Moved in second to move the board monthly budget into the consent agenda at our next board meeting. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye.
Wisniewski, aye.
Motion carries. All right, we're now at the fourth quarter financial report.
Right.
Ms. Crosby.
Sure. If I may, if we could just go to the first page with the numbers, the chart with, I think it has 4 columns of numbers. So basically, these are the preliminary year-end as of June 30, 2022 financial reports for the fourth quarter. I do want to reiterate they're preliminary because all of our information is not in yet. We still are making some final entries with regard to delinquent taxes, interest income, which those 2 pieces of information come from the county, as well as we're making some entries, final reconciliations with the county and with the state and balancing all of our accounts. So there may be some relatively minimal, immaterial changes that will be made to these when you see the final report. So there are some estimates in this report based on what we believe will receive additional information in the next month or so. The trial balance is the financial information is due to the auditors by the end of next week. So we do expect to have as much as possible through that date. And then we could have a few entries after that's given to the auditors, but we try to keep that to a minimum. So basically, local tax revenue is the real highlight of this report. Tax revenues this year came in over budget, which is beneficial to the district. So of $4 million. So unexpected, we did include projections. Excuse me, sorry. We did project growth in the value of the mill, but it exceeded our projections. So with total local revenues, we're expecting 4.2 million over budget. And so that is all going to be placed into the fund balance. In addition, we had state revenues, and I'm looking in the far right-hand column, total state revenues of $292,805. That's how much we're exceeding the budget of revenues. So there were some changes, we were short.
There we go. Keep a little bit more.
We were short in some areas, over in others. Those are projections that come from the State Department of Ed. And so we are, so about 300 additional thousand there. And then additional state revenue of 595,000. So all in all, state revenues for the general fund are exceeding the budget by $5 million, about $5.1 million, all which will go to the fund balance. So as we move into the next page, you're going to see expenditures there as well. The top row is revenues. It just reiterates what we just discussed. But our expenditures, we are expected to come under spend. Our total budget is 274.2 million. We expect to underspend by $750,000. So there could be a few changes there, but for the most part, that will be the final number. So what we project is that we will add 5.8 million to the fund balance this year, which will bring us to an 18.9% fund balance. So we will spend 99.7% of budget. So one last page, I want to bring a highlight. This last page is all funds of the district. So you see the general fund in the far left column. That's the information that we just looked over. I want to highlight all of the others are relatively normal. With expectations of within range. Food Service Fund has another good year and has grown another $3.3 million to a fund balance of 8.5. That is a very federally restricted and state restricted fund. So we have a spend down plan that has to be approved by the state. We worked on that last year and we're continuing some of those projects due to delays in the supply chain. Some of the kitchen equipment that we've ordered is coming in and just arriving or just being seeing some significant delays in those areas. So we did fast track a lot of kitchen equipment replacements and with those dollars, but we will continue to be able to do even more with that money. So in terms of equipment. So with that, I'll turn it over to you all for any questions.
Questions, Mr. Campbell? Dr. Wisniewski, do you have any questions?
Can you explain what you were saying about the spend down plan and basically the reason for that? Just elaborate a little bit more on that for me.
Sure. So the State Department of Education the nutrition office has a requirement that you can only hold in your fund balance in the food service fund. I believe it's 30 days of operations in your fund balance. And so anytime you exceed that, you must provide a plan of action to spend down those excess funds. And it must be in the form of equipment or supplies or labor. It is prohibited to be spent on bricks and mortar. You cannot construct a facility or replace a facility or tear down a wall with food service funds, but you can put a piece of equipment in or buy vehicles or furniture or like cafeteria tables or kitchen equipment. So we're in the process of a year. We had a good year the year before. And so we're in the process of using some of those dollars, but then had another good year. And we do have some kitchen equipment on order to make some significant amount of replacements of equipment, ovens and warmers and milk coolers in our schools.
Can I have a follow-up question, please?
Sure.
Awesome. In regard to spending that down, I know you mentioned that furnishings were allowed, and during some of the school tours, I'm sure you guys already have this on like your list of potential items that money could be used for, but I know that there was some interest from quite a number of schools about expanding their outdoor eating areas. So I was wondering if there was any plans to expend that money for that as well.
Actually, we already have done some with that. So Well Branch Middle School has a new shade structure over what already existed as picnic tables and concrete pad. Actually, I think the concrete pad had to be laid, but there were already picnic tables there right outside of the cafeteria. So we installed a beautiful shade structure there. There were actually 5 locations recently that would receive shade structures to support that outdoor dining. Bluffton, Beaufort Middle, Better Creek doesn't have a shade structure, but they do have an awning off of the back, but they do have some picnic tables out there. May River, because of the capacity, and they were really nearing capacity in their cafeteria with the number of students they have. So we placed an outdoor dining shade structure there. I don't recall all of the schools. Freddie Lawton and I worked very closely together. He identified where the need was greatest and had the space for it. But we talked last week that we can begin to think about, I asked him to go out and see, let's do another round of them. So yes, they're definitely, DeFusky was another. There were some outdoor seating areas with umbrellas, I believe. We bought some umbrellas at Port Royal to go with to add to some existing outdoor seating that they had. And I have to get a list. I don't remember all of them.
No, that's great. Thank you. I just was wondering what the status of those were, and I appreciate that. I think that that's really important for the kids to be able to get outside, get some fresh air during lunch hours. Thank you.
Sure. In fact, I visited the Well Branch schools on the first day of school and took pictures of them. They looked so good. I sent Freddie a letter and thanked him.
It's not surprising that revenues came in higher than projected because of the number of home sales. When you have when you sell a house that you bought for $200,000, it's on the county books for $200,000 for tax purposes. But when the new buyer pays $400,000 for that, then that is now the assessed value, and he's taxed for that assessed value. So I think that trend will probably continue because we've only got a half a year, and it's always a lag between the time the transaction happens and the taxes are paid. So that's good news. The fund balance, now, Government Finance Officers Association says you should have 60 days of expenditures on hand. And we now have a 69-day, which is a 3-day increase. But that's allowed us to reduce our tax anticipation note from 15 million to 7.5 million. And it would really be nice that we don't have to have a tax anticipation note. And remember that this Government Finance Officers Association goal is for entities that have a more spread out funding stream. Unlike we have a 2-month, basically, period of funding. So that's good news. And the reason this needs to be talked about is we have a reassessment year coming up next year. Is that not correct?
'23 or 24. So it's at least every 5 years. They could do it a year early, so I'm not certain exactly the year, but it would be either 23 or 24.
Well, we'll have a new auditor, and we're going to have to be prepared to discuss our fund balance because that has been brought up the last 2 years by county council. We go for budget approval. So we have to make sure that we do not have happen what happened last time, and we came out short $9 million in revenue at the last reassessment. If there are no other questions, I think this is going to be brought to the full board at the next meeting. The full board sees it, so this will not be in the consent agenda, correct?
It is not required to be, it can be consent, but it can be pulled off.
I recommend that it be given to the full board. Do you agree?
Yeah.
Dr. Wisniewski, do you agree?
Yes, sir. I think the fourth quarter reports are
Yeah.
more important to go to the full board.
Absolutely. Okay, great.
Is there, sectors on the committee or just goes to the full board?
It'll be on the committee report, but Ms. Crosby will give the presentation.
So we don't need to accept it.
That's what I'm asking,
We don't need to accept it. We just,
because this would be part of your report
Right.
later on.
It will be part of an OE report.
Report later. Okay.
When I do the annual report, so yes, I can do a presentation during committee report.
okay. Next item on the agenda is minority women-owned business report.
Right. I'm just gonna give a brief introduction. Kaylee Yinger is here with us this evening, our procurement coordinator. This is the Minority Women Business Enterprise report for the 6-month period from January 1st, 2022 to June 30th, 2022. So this does not fall under the current procurement code. This is the final report of the old procurement code. And so it does fall under that those regulations. And so Haley is going to give a few highlights of that this evening. She didn't know it yet, but
I'm prepared. As always, this is a 6-month snapshot of the quarterly reports that we produce for the superintendent. And then this is the semi-annual report that is required for the procurement code to be brought to the board. If you look at the background information, it states that our goal is still 20% of the controllable budget, and this is for the 2021-2022 school year, second half. The data below explains the funds that were expended as a 6-month figure, which was $138.8 million. And the goal established again for the utilization report during that period for FY22 is 20%. So our goal was $27.7 million. Total dollars expended for awards to certified minority women business enterprise was $1 million, which was 0.74% of the controllable budget. Total dollars expended to non-certified was $5.8 million, and that was 4.8% of controllable budget. And total dollars expended for awards to all minority women business enterprise certified and non-certified was $6.8 million, which was 4.92%. The bid information below captures how many solicitations were put out by the procurement department and some information on those as well. Then it's a breakdown of actual dollars paid to certified minority women business for minority and then women, split to those 2 categories and how many of each of those vendors that we currently use that are certified. Then for the benefit of the board, it's the goal versus actual, historical to current, showing everything from January to June 2016, which is a semi-annual reporting period, all the way to current, just kind of trending on how we've spent in the past 6 years. Again, it's always a conscious effort to acquire more minority women business-owned businesses. And we, again, work with other people in the district to make sure that we're advertising. You can see that through the transparency report, through radio, through newspapers, and through commerces, and also having, can't find words today, and also having meetings with the local vendors to ensure that they know the opportunities that exist. After that is section 5, which is all sole source and emergency procurement that was procured for that 6-month period. Questions?
Dr. Wisniewski, you have any questions or comments?
No, sir.
I don't either. This has to be presented to the board.
it is required by the procurement code that we present it twice a year to
Right.
the board. Yes, sir.
So we will recommend approval. Is that what you're looking for? For this committee to recommend approval to the full board?
Or acceptance of the report.
Okay, acceptance of the report.
I make a motion to accept the report.
I have a motion to accept the report. Do we hear a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye.
Wisniewski, aye.
We will
Is this going to consent agenda or?
No, this will be on our report.
Committee.
We'll have a,
Got it.
motion. Okay. Next item on the agenda is discussion of state contract changes, new procurement code.
So again, introduce that very quickly. So there have been some questions regarding different vendors, particularly Amazon. And we do wanted to bring forward a significant change that's in the procurement code that may affect our purchasing and the vendors that we're using. So I think in particular, we're going to see some reductions in Amazon, particularly in the areas of office supplies. And so the document we provided was for a comparison with Staples for last month and this month. So without stealing her thunder even more, I'm gonna let Kaylee talk here and she can explain change in the state code and how that affects some of our vendors.
So when we brought the summary of the changes of the code, the major changes that are going to happen, we brought that to the finance committee. Dr. Wisniewski made a very critical point of saying, how are we going to control Amazon? How are we going to control spending with the limits going to 10,000? And so taking in all that information in hand with Dr. Watts wanting a new procurement guide or procurement overview for the board, we thought we'd give you the information on what we call the 10% rule. So the new procurement code states that state contract is mandatory. With that, we already have our own district contracts. So when we wrote our policies and procedures, our internal policies and procedures required by the new procurement code, we notated that not only are state contract mandatory, but district contract, if it's already been competitively bid, you have to start there to see if you can buy it. So if a bookkeeper needs to purchase markers, they need to go, it's for office supplies, they need to go to Staples or Forms and Supplies. Those two companies have already gone through the competitive bidding process to give a discount to the state. And they have all this information at their fingertips to be able to purchase from these vendors. They can't just go to Amazon and buy what they want or go to Walmart and buy what they want. However, then the 10% rule applies. We know that sometimes, even if a contracted vendor can sometimes be more expensive than Amazon. So if they go to Amazon to buy markers and they find that it's 10% cheaper on Amazon, they have to go back to the contracted vendor to see if they'll match their price. If they won't, they can proceed with the purchase from the less expensive vendor. If they match their price, well, then they got a cheaper price. Right. So it has been a learning curve for some of the bookkeepers as well, but we've given them the tools and the access and complete with access to all the information they need for what's on state contract. Just to make sure that nothing gets convoluted, not all items are available on state contract. You may not be able to buy water bottles off state contract or tissues off state contract, or you have something else that they may need. So then they are free to purchase from where they'd like. But we do check all of that during the audit process now as well.
Could you, I'm working on getting the comparison to Robin for display on the screen, but if you wouldn't mind just running over.
So as a visual to this, it's kind of proving and showing that from July of 21 to July of 22, a year difference, we decreased our Amazon spending just this month alone from a year ago by 50%, well, a little bit more than 50%. But we've increased it with Staples by a little bit more than 50%. So we are using, it's proof showing that we are using our contracted vendors and to make sure that we are getting the best, most competitive price for what we're spending as well. And they're doing a really good job about it. The schools are doing a really, really good job.
Mr. Chair.
Dr. Wisniewski.
Thank y'all so much for this presentation and for, entertaining all my Amazon questions over the months or years. And that was simply just a thing to make sure that, I love Amazon just as much as the next person, and I utilize it, and its conveniences is wonderful. But I do appreciate all the work that you guys have done to make this and clean this up also for the bookkeepers. And I know it might be a little bit of a headache, but I think that it's going to be beneficial for everybody in the long run. So thank you for your work, and I appreciate you.
Thanks.
I recommend that this also be presented to the full board.
You don't have to work.
Pardon me?
Do we have to work on that?
I don't think we we have to vote on it, but is there any objection to having this presented to the full
I
board?
don't have it.
No.
Yeah, I think the public needs to hear about that, and the public doesn't watch the committee reports. Okay, great. Discussion of monthly ESSER updates is our next item.
Okay. So this item I requested to be added. So after the last board meeting, during the ESSER updates, so these are our, for the public, our federal COVID-related funds. We give monthly updates to the board. There've been a number of questions about various things, the spending patterns, budget transfers, and various things. And so after the last meeting, I felt like we really needed to provide a deeper dive for the board to allow you to have some more information. But it really, I think it would be better suited in the committee than a full board meeting, because it will take some time. And I think we may even have, we have enough for a 2-part series right now. We have budget transfers, and then we want to come to you a second round with some projected cash flows, similar to what the referendum is doing. So what do we anticipate to spend by month? And it gets a bit confusing because we have multiple grants. And so we may be consolidating those together, those activities together, and you can see the activity as a whole and how that spending will occur. And we'll shift and make sure that it's paid for through the appropriate grant. But you'll see a better picture of what progress we're making of spending through each activity. So after school programs or mental health services or so on, and we'll collapse those and show you what that spending pattern will be out through 2024. So my request this evening is simply to allow the ESSER updates to flow through the finance committee to the board, to the full board, and that perhaps starting with our next meeting, we do a detailed ESSER update. Ms. Matson will join me and help with that conversation. She's already been working on some ways to report to the board that clarify things. And so my request this evening is just for a motion to allow that to come to committee, and then we'll send it through committee back to the full board, just as we're doing with the monthly transparency reports.
But not necessarily on the consent agenda.
It doesn't have to go on consent agenda. It just will go back in any area the board chooses.
Yeah.
But we have a deep discussion here, and then you all get a better understanding of it as the committee. I think many of the finance committee members had some of the most questions in the full board meeting. So I think that will give you all a better understanding of it, and anyone else who wishes to attend the meeting, and then perhaps save some time at the board meeting on that discussion.
Comments, questions?
Okay. I'll make a motion that, I move that the finance committee recommend to the full board, bringing the monthly ESSER update to finance committee to be vetted and provided to the full board on the next available meeting.
Here's a second for discussion.
Second.
Good, let's have a discussion. You think that's it?
I think it's fine.
Okay, Dr. Wisniewski?
Yeah, I'd love an opportunity to go through it in finance committee. And I agree, Tanya, that, Colonel Geyer and myself probably have the most questions about that. And I do think the format needed some modifications. So I appreciate that you guys are being proactive on that. So I look forward to hopefully having the full board agree with that and have it come through committee.
I agree. I really think that our first meeting that we discussed this at the finance committee, that we really schedule some time for a really in-depth discussion, not only of the information that you have, but also in packaging that information so it's a little easier for us to understand, for the full board to understand, and for the public to understand. Because we get a lot of questions. Why aren't you using this federal money to buy this and to buy that?
Yeah.
And so this, I think, would be very, very beneficial to do that. Any other comments from Mr. Smith or Mr. Sturberger? Yes, David?
I think that's a really good idea. My only suggestion would be when you bring it to the full board to have it a little more condensed. Hopefully the finance committee can take a very detailed thing and bring it down to something a lot more manageable for the full board, because we don't want to continue to repeat these presentations, once for the committee and then the same presentation for the board. So I think it's a great idea because there are a lot of questions, and I agree with you. That's probably the number one question I get asked by constituents. Is what are you doing with all that money?
Mr. Smith?
I just think that this possibly may be work sessions as well, quarterly to dig into this and to get more of a clarification in it. It's something to digest right now, but I think that it will be interesting for the full board as well to understand and be able to digest this information as well and be able to process it. So when people do ask these questions, that we can't answer back confidently, knowing that we're given the correct information. That's all I would say.
Okay, go ahead and call for the vote. Pardon?
Rachel stands up.
Oh, go ahead, Dr. Wisniewski.
Yeah, I was just going to say, I agree with David. I think the one beneficial thing that's already in place for the monthly ESSER updates is that there's that executive summary on the first page. So that'll be useful in not rehashing things too deeply at the full board level, but still allowing us to dive deep at the committee level.
Sure. So call for the vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Wisniewski, aye.
Aye. Motion passes unanimously. Next item is future topics.
Mr. Chair.
Dr. Wisniewski.
I'm not sure how this topic would necessarily be presented, but I know we've done quite a bit throughout the course of the pandemic, and we've had bonuses and we've had additional changes and things like that that we've done in individual part. And I know that there was a bit of a conversation at our last board meeting on Tuesday about perhaps a more holistic approach in the future for different things. So what I'm kind of looking for is maybe having a discussion and a review of what has occurred in terms of increases. And perhaps this is already coming in terms of the study report tomorrow, but just wanted to have a review of those different salary increases, bonuses, and things like that, so that we can kind of get a full look at what we have accomplished and those changes that have occurred in the last year or two.
I fully agree. I think that, I really want to dive a little deeper into long-term costs of what we're promoting to do with salaries, because once you establish a salary, they don't go down.
No.
And so we have to make sure that we are very cognizant of what our revenue requirements are going to be to keep these recurring costs done and happening. So I think a kind of a deep dive into that at the next committee meeting would be very valuable. Any other comments, any other additions that we talked about? Dr. Wisniewski, anything else?
That's all I have for now. Thank you.
Okay. Yes.
Sir, I will have, of course, the transparency reports again, the $100,000 report, the board monthly budget, and an update of ESSER funds, so, or a presentation. So those will also be ready for the next meeting.
Let's try to make sure we get the transparent, that 82-page document. So we'll have some time before the meeting, so we can ask questions rather than go through line by line during the meeting.
Yes, it's been up for some time, several days at least. I don't know the exact date, but
If you could just send it to.
we can,
send it
as soon
to
as
the
it's
committee
up,
members.
we'll send a link to the committee.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right.
The
Without,
next meeting would
next
be
meeting would be
Thursday, October 13th.
October 13th. Okay.
Perfect. So we will start at 5 or we will start early? Because we will have.
You know, Rachel can't start before 5. so-
No.
5 open.
Yeah, we'll have to start at 5. Okay.
Okay.
Do I hear a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
I have a second. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Thank you very much.
Thank y'all.